Welcome to Real Talk Christian Podcast, where we drink coffee and have real conversations on faith, culture, and society. I'm your host, Chris Fuller.
And I'm Marc Hyde.
And on today's episode, we are sitting down to talk with a very special guest that we met at Revive Fest.
The one and only.
Joshua Whitehead was there, and we're going to be talking about his life and his new EP that he just dropped, Second Chances. So we're calling this episode, The God is a God of Second Chances. Marc, are you ready to go?
Let's go.
Let's go.
What's up, party pooper?
What's going on, my friend?
You popped my bubble today.
Wait, what?
You popped my bubble today.
What?
In case people don't know, Fuller has his own sound effects.
I got a new toy.
We're in trouble, guys.
I got tired of you like, hang on, and like clicking through to hit a sound. I'm like,
so
I'm
you
just gonna
got
put
your
it
own
right
sound
here.
effects.
I'm just gonna throw it right here.
I walk in, I'm all excited. You're like, all right, dude, we got the coffee going. I didn't bring my cup because I brought some gifts from listeners.
Oh,
so I'll do this. And I walk in, I'm like, and you're like, bro, what cup do you want? I'm like, dude, give me that Notre Dame because it is game day weekend. I got my house ready. I got my flags up. I am wearing my Notre Dame merch. And you're like, bro, that's next week.
Dude, you're a week off, bro.
I felt so sad. So I texted Beth. The second you told me, I said, well, I guess I am free tomorrow. So what am I doing around the house? Because I'm like, I got to cut Elliot's hair. We're going to watch Notre Dame. I got the kids hyped during dinner.
You're like, yo, it's Irish
time.
time.
It's Irish time. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have some pop. We're going to have some food. We're going to be grilling out, having burgers.
But you know what? You're pre-gaming the coffee with Notre Dame. With the Notre Dame coffee mug.
That's true. I even wore my Notre Dame old school classic Adidas full thing zip from the marketplace, the Facebook marketplace.
You'll know when it's game time because the very first Friday before game time, you'll see the jersey come back out.
See, I was actually confused because I saw on Facebook, I'm like, oh, they're doing the Rudy Watch next week? That's weird. Normally they do it before the first game of the season. So that should have been a clue.
Clue number one.
In case you don't know, they watched the movie Rudy in Notre Dame Stadium, and it's free for everybody. It's on my bucket list. I haven't done it yet. Ain't going to be this year either.
So... I mean,
but either way, welcome back, guys, and Fuller popped my bubble.
All we're doing is building the anticipation for you, Marc, for Notre Dame season. That's all we did.
That's right.
Thank you, Notre Dame.
And everyone else is trying to join these super conferences, and Notre Dame is like, nope, we stayed independent.
They're like, what do we need to join a conference for? We got all this money.
That's true. I wish they would join the Big Ten. But
they don't really need to, man. They pack the stadium as it is.
That's true. But these days, I guess anybody can be in the Big Ten or the ACC or the SEC. It doesn't matter where your college is even at anymore.
Sure,
but you know what? But I am ready for college football because it's starting to feel like fall in the morning. It's like 56. We're taking the kids to school. I'm excited.
Pause. Wait. So
you need a pause button.
I do. I just thought of that. So Janelle and I had our first pumpkin spice yesterday from Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, I know.
Bro, it's August 18th.
I know, man. It's a good thing.
No.
Pumpkin spice, right? You started off.
That crap nasty. That crap, I don't want no pumpkin spice.
Stuff, man.
It's not like pumpkin spice.
All right. I don't drink it all the time, but at the start of fall, it's like, all right, it's pumpkin spice.
That's been
time.
your tradition for years.
So it's just like, hey, I went to Dunkin' Donuts to grab the kid donuts. The kids.
I saw
donuts.
that. He means himself.
The kid. Me.
The kid.
No, the kids' donuts. And so I was like, man, I really want something to drink. I'm like, I need some coffee. I'm like, so what's your coffee today? And they're like, we got pumpkin spice. I'm like, sign me up, bro.
Was it the coffee or was it their latte?
Well, so Janelle got
their lattes suck.
got their hot pumpkin spice latte, and she thought it was good. I got their like frappuccino pumpkin spice latte.
Ooh, like where they blend it all up.
Oh, bro,
their blended frou-frou drinks are pretty good.
It was really good.
Their blended frou-frou drinks are pretty good, but the actual like hot lattes, they always like the espresso's always burnt. It's nasty.
You know I can't just go to like Charbucks or to Dunkin' Donuts and just get straight coffee.
That's true.
It's just disgusting.
Lately, I've been rocking that not nitro. I just been rocking this the vanilla sweet cream. Cold brew.
Here's the thing, right, bro? Mm-hmm. So if you go, I looked through the window at the Dunkin' Donuts over here on Lincoln Way.
You're creeping, okay?
And well, I was waiting there, and I just looked in there, and they've got the beard taps for the cold brews.
They got the beard taps.
They got them there,
so
bro.
So apparently, Dunkin' Donuts is trying to be a cold brew bar, just like the actual cold brew bar that I went to in Indy.
When you're missing that cold brew bar, bro, you can just go to get you some at Dunkin's.
Dang it, dude. That's wild. But, bro, so since we're already talking about coffee, we have a special coffee we're drinking today.
We do. It's another Jacoa
Which
coffee.
Last time we did not drink any coffee because we had to go to sleep.
Yeah. This time, not so much. Well, I mean,
Beth already said I can sleep in tomorrow, so let's go.
Sweet. All right, so this is another Toccoa blend.
Which is local here, South Bend.
And it is. Yep, it is. It's one of the ones. Actually, if you go to our show notes, you can order their coffee off off their website. So this is one of your favorite roasts. It's an Ethiopian, right?
Not roast.
Well, not
origin.
Roast. Origin. Yes, and it's a single origin. It's a Ethiopian, and it's a light roast is what I was thinking in my brain for roast. So it's a light roast, just like we like it. And I made it weak, just like Marc likes it. Yep. And so we're drinking that tonight. That's what we're drinking, bro. Ethiopian, just for you.
It's some yummy stuff, dude.
It's the good stuff.
It has undernotes of blueberry, and you can taste it.
And what is it? It's a body like a wine. It's nice. It is a very nice cup of coffee. You know me, I'm not a big Ethiopian fan, but when I tasted it,
it's different. It's not as earthy and gritty as you expect.
Yes. So when we had our small group Bible study on Wednesday night, Janelle made some, and I'm like, which coffee is that? She goes, it was this Ethiopian one.
See,
I'm
we've been pounding Mexican.
Well, we got some more.
We got some for visitors. We'll talk about that next episode. We got to get into this episode.
Yeah, so why don't you go ahead and read the review for us tonight, my friend?
I would if my iPad would stay unlocked. Here we go. So this is a review from John. I'm just going to assume this is a homeboy John.
You don't want to say Zhangzi Jinja? XONZY.
Whenever I see a username with a bunch of characters, I'm like, you're an Android user who just downloaded this just to leave us a review. That's my guess.
That's right.
So this is from John. It says, y'all are amazing. You guys need to bring up your old episodes more because every time you upload, I get super excited to listen to another pod that you reference. But I have 2 video ideas, and if you haven't done them yet, then I think they'd be cool to add to the list. How long is this review? Okay. If you don't really care, then that's totally fine. I just really want to let you know how much I love your podcast. Oh, how much your podcast has helped me. Oh, I thought I was going to get these like right now.
They're on there, but they're not. I screwed it up after I
want to see what these video requests are. But either way, continue reading. I listen to you guys, and you are so Bible grounded, but funny too, and makes jokes and other things. Because I am a joke. You talk about literally everything going on, which is why you should do these episodes. I'm a list.
Which is why you should do these episodes. I'm a list.
I don't know.
I'm a list.
But I love your pod.
I love it.
Podcast. You guys get me closer to God, and I thank him for y'all. Stay real, bros.
Yeah, so if you pull up.
I botched that one.
That's all right.
I apparently can't read.
We still love you anyways.
I am edumacated, I promise. I am edumacated. Which side note, the kid just went back to school on Wednesday this week. It has never been so peaceful in my house.
What?
It is nice.
Oh, yeah.
Because we kicked out half them kids. Half them fools are at school.
You still got the three littles, though.
I got the 3 littles and a Lennox.
All right, hang on. I'm going to
Are we actually going to do this right now?
Yeah, I'm going to pull it up. It's not going to be that long, all right?
Okay, look for the reviewed guy.
I got it already, see? So episode ideas. The Chosen, Should People Watch, which we did that one.
We've done that one.
In the same note, most pop culture TV, like Stranger Things and Office and shows that are popular. So we did one like that.
Yep.
The word heretic.
Oh, that's coming up.
And not saved should they. Yeah, that one's coming here.
That one's coming up.
Young Life and other organizations.
Ooh.
Okay. And if you're comfortable, I would 100% want to have a conversation about weed and other drugs and things that people consume.
Episode 3, 2.
We had one on that, but then we revisited it, I thought.
No, we haven't revisited it yet. We talked about it. We didn't do it.
All right,
but so I actually was prepped to have a heretic episode next week, but it ain't ready yet. So you have to come back in like another 3 weeks to get that episode. But if you ever are not sure about what episodes you did, you just got to go to the website, realtalkchristianpodcast.com, hit that search icon, and literally we have 216 episodes plus bonus content in the bank. Just search for whatever topic you want based on if it shows up in the show notes or the actual episode. You're gonna find what you're looking for. Like today, someone said in the Facebook group, "Hey, I'm feeling this. Do you guys have any episodes on this topic?"
And you're like, I
searched it. I pulled it up. I said, here's 3 episodes on that specific topic. So if you're ever not sure, just go to the website, realtalkchristianpodcast.com.
Type in a word. Just type in one word.
Type in a word like, I love Marc more than Fuller, and then nothing will pop up because that's...
I don't think it would work the other way around either.
I think
or they would all pop up because it's got Marc and Fuller name in it. So
that's true. Who's better than Marc and Fuller?
God.
I was going to say Beth and Janelle.
Oh, there you go.
And Jesus. So either way, thank you for leaving us that review. If you hear your review read on air, let us know. We'll get you that mini swag bag in the mail.
Yeah. So, all right, let's dive into these
3 episodes. Ooh, I spit everywhere.
Wow.
Do your rewind button.
Hang on. Let's try that again. Hey, let's dive into our with our artist here. I'm having too much fun with this.
Yes, you are.
We're going to bring Joshua Whitehead. He's a local boy. Well, he was a local boy.
And then he ditched us.
From the Michiana area.
Yep.
Man after our own heart.
Yep.
He is now currently living in Nashville. Just dropped a new EP called Second Chance. We met him at Revive Fest. And then, let's bring him on.
Sounds good.
What's up, Josh? Good to have you, my friend.
What's up, man? Hey,
Oh.
cheers.
Just living life, man. Drinking coffee and getting caffeinated.
No, I got to ask this. So, Josh, since you are a local Michiana, are you still
Yes,
cheering
sir.
for the Fighting Irish, or are you hometown? You hometown? Because you Nashville. I mean, Nashville's playing Inter Miami.
I knew you were going to ask me that question.
Absolutely.
So, see, growing up, I really didn't have a team.
That's
I
fair.
was more into music and sports.
All right.
And I decided to get into football, and my wife's family's all from Alabama. So,
No.
yeah, we are a Roll Tide house, but
Oh,
I have no hate for Notre Dame.
That's
so.
fair.
I need the what button on this.
I used to be a police officer when I was living back in Michiana, and I was actually working a lot of the security at the Notre Dame games. So
That's pretty dope.
And so now what do you do besides music?
Besides music, what I do for money is I am an insurance agent with Aflac. Go ahead.
Really? What's it called?
Aflac.
I had to do it. Aflac.
That was good. That was so
Yeah.
corny.
You know,
Awkward dad moment.
it was
It's
still
all right.
it was still worth it.
It was absolutely.
So
Yeah, that's what I do for money is just sell Aflac, which kind of frees me up to I can create my own schedule. I can tour and I can get my source. I can kind of market in any state for that, and then I can go to these different churches, sometimes smaller venues, and I don't have to like ask for a bunch of money. I can kind of just focus on the ministry part, which I enjoy.
yeah. So you talked about a little bit growing up. You didn't have a team, or so. What was life? I'm gonna be.
You're just
I'm
jumping
just
in.
gonna jump into the conversation. What was life like for Josh? You don't mind if I call you Josh, right? Or you like Joshua?
That's fine.
Do you like Joshua?
Joshua was my preference, but
All
yeah.
right, we're gonna say Joshua then. Joshua. Sorry, I got a brother-in-law who his name is Joshua, and he likes to be called Josh. So sometimes I might screw it up. I apologize ahead of time.
Yep.
So Joshua,
No offense taken either way.
what did life look like growing up for you? Like, did you always grow up in this Michiana area? Did you grow up in a Christian household? Did you not? Like, kind of dive into the weeds for us.
Yeah, so I was born in Michigan, and then apparently my parents moved to Florida, but I don't remember any of that. They moved back to Elkhart when I was 2.
Okay.
So yeah, always been in the Michiana area up till about 4 months ago. Yeah, my parents were worship leaders, so I was born on a Friday, was in church on Sunday.
Yep.
So I literally just, yeah, you feel me. So I grew up singing, singing, grew up in church, grew up with in a Christian home, and started playing guitar when I was about 10. And music was always kind of my thing. So I got a little bit older, like into the 13 realm, and then, just like you often hear, started focusing on girls and sports and other things. Still would kind of always fluctuate back towards music, and then kind of ran from God for a couple years. Was in a few secular bands, and then put music up for a while actually. And right after my wife and I got married, we kind of both decided we're going to go back to church and put music up for a while. And then my pastor at the time was just like, "Hey, I heard you could," found out I could play. And basically was
The
like, "Hey,
secret came out.
We're gonna have you on stage next week." And I'm like, "No. Every time I do music, it gets weird. I make it about me." And he's like, "Yeah, you won't do that now." I'm like, okay.
So you were voluntold.
I was voluntold, and so I kind of got me back in it. And I hadn't been in it for a minute. I had not really written a Christian song since I was probably a kid. And so then a few years into it, I started writing. And just kind of developed a band. Real quick walkthrough of everything, I guess.
Real talk, baby.
Yeah, real talk. So when it got into a band, we were called 4 All Generations. We released a few songs, and then through it all, and ended up the wife and I were praying about it. Just kind of fell to the call to the Nashville area. Ended up going on my own, releasing 4 new ones, and under my own name. And but yeah, that's just kind of the thing is it was just like I wasn't real sure on how to even write a Christian song. I was like, okay, because everything I heard out there's a lot of good word songs, but like when I first started, it was like I felt almost cookie cutter writing it.
Yep.
Like, and I didn't want to be another cookie cutter artist.
Yeah.
I wanted to write real stuff. I wanted to make it about God, but I wanted to. So I've got some songs even that like I would never show because it's just like me practicing almost my writing skill. And now it's like getting to the point where I can actually like I can be real. I can have real talk in my songs, so to speak.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can just let those emotions and the struggles come out, but yet then kind of offer that answer of hope that we have in Jesus.
So can I lean to that for a second?
I was going to as well.
Well,
So
you
go
just
for
said
it.
having that hope in Jesus, and so Joshua, when you go back to your time when you were in the secular bands, and not just in secular bands, but I'm assuming I don't know if it was full fledged like classic, was it drug, sex, and rock and roll? I don't know if it was to that extreme.
Wow, that's old school.
Or what? That's just the terminology I know, man.
No. I mean, and it was. I mean, I had several frivolous relationships. I was smoking weed, drinking, and we were playing in bars. It was by the band a shot night. Said it from the stage many times. So yeah, it was kind of in there. I just always, I never really stopped believing in God. I never had like a deconstruction moment.
And that's what I was about to ask. Yeah. Okay.
But it was just, I think I was so fed up with some of the phony stuff that I saw in the church I grew up, just growing up in the church and kind of seeing behind the scenes from my parents being worship leaders and stuff, that it was just like, had to come to the realization later that that's not God. That was just people. And no matter what church you go to, people are going to be there and they're going to be flawed. So it's more of a question, I think, of I heard somebody say it today, actually, it was like, what are you worshiping? Who are you worshiping?
Mm-hmm.
Is it the people or is it God? So if you're worshiping the building or the people, then you're probably going to get you're going to get let down every time.
Right. So, leaning a little bit more into that too. So what actually, so your story sounds a little bit similar to mine, which I go over in our podcast to episode 1. I had the aha moment of like God calling me and bringing me back to him. Did you ever have a moment like that? And if so, what was that moment? What did that moment look like for you?
I mean, honestly, it was kind of, when I met my wife, I was still kind of in it. So I wouldn't say like an exact moment, but kind of looking back, it's almost like meeting her kind of, it forced me to grow up.
Preach, brother.
Preach. I was like, oh man.
And then it was like, I have a kid. I had a kid with a high school girlfriend, and she's 19, and she lives in New York State with her biological mom. And so I was going through stuff with that, like with like legal battles and things like that, which is all in the past. We're amicable now and stuff like that. And obviously she's 19 now, but I was kind of starting through all that process, and it was kind of my wife who just kind of walked me through that, and just kind of showed me how to, like, almost showed me how to grow up. Like, hey, these are the spots where you're still being a little boy at. And then I kind of just started realizing too, I'm like, hey, I need to step it up. Like, if I'm going to take care of her, and I'm going to take care of, this kid, and I'm going to take care of, potentially other kids, which now I have 2 more. It's like, it's time for me to step it up and be a dad. And that's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
So
Sure. Now, how long have you and your wife been together?
15 years.
Oh, wow.
So
congrats.
coming up in August 30th, man, will be 15 years.
Well, happy early anniversary.
Thanks, man.
Cool, man. So, you kind of walked away from God, came back with the help of your wife and helping the maturity grow in you. Do you ever still, especially being on the road from time to time with the music, do you ever have moments where you like really struggle in your faith of like, you don't have the fellowship, or maybe temptations from your past come along? And do you ever like struggle? Like, so Marc and I talk about, we have struggles all the time on the podcast. Absolutely. We'll talk about it. So, what does that look like for you, and how do you overcome those struggles?
I would say probably my biggest struggle. If I can honestly, I mean, this is
Real talk,
so I feel
man.
like I can
Oh, dang.
follow it up. So no, it's like the strongholds in my life have probably, um, until, I mean, even up to a couple months ago, have probably all but wrecked my marriage.
Mm.
Um, so I struggled with pornography for a long time, and I think that's a common problem among men, and
Yeah.
probably even more common among men in the church, but we don't like to talk about it.
Right.
Um, so it's pornography and kids being touched seems to be the two things nobody wants to talk about in the
Yep.
church.
Yep.
Hot take.
And probably one of the biggest places where it's happening, and probably one of the biggest opportunities for the church to come together and actually be there for people.
Totally agree.
So and even going in deeper with that, leaning into that on my own here, is like I think probably some of the reason I struggle with pornography is because I was touched inappropriately as a kid.
Mm.
So I kind of I don't remember a lot of it, but thank God.
Yeah.
But that's where I think some of that probably comes from, just kind of evaluating myself psychologically and all that. But sorry, my kid's trying to.
Nope,
He's awesome, bro.
Real talk. You might.
Well, your kids are gone today.
Yeah, I guess my kids left, but usually my kids are running around above us, or I got a dog barking. It's like, well, real talk.
We're just two dudes in the basement.
No. She's just trying to. I got the door locked. She's trying to pick it. She's like, "Daddy."
Been there.
She's
Yep.
two, but she's
Yeah.
a brute. She's like, yeah, I don't know what's up with the 2-year-old generation right now, but man,
Have fun.
We totally we understand, brother.
Because she'll like kick the dog and then be like, "Oh, I'm so," and then I'm like, "What the heck?" And then she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, puppy." I'm like, "What?"
Yep. I got some of those at home.
Oh goodness. So diving back into that dynamic where you were talking about, being sexually abused when you were younger. I've dealt with that in my personal life, not me personally, but knowing people in my life that have had that done to them and how it's affected them. How have you walked that journey? Like, I mean, you said you were young, you don't remember a lot of it, but you do have to reevaluate yourself a little bit. And so how do you walk through that?
Honestly, I mean, I'll be 100% with you. Like, I didn't even remember or even think that it was like, I was like, I repressed so much of it that it was kind of like, oh, that was not, I mean, that was probably normal. That was probably, and because it wasn't like super, at least not what I remember, like super intrusive. If I can, kind of keep it PG.
Yeah.
But so it's just like I'm like, oh, that's probably normal. Like I don't know, maybe not, I don't know. And then I just like forget about it because put it in a compartment in the back of your head. And let it go. Walking through trying to go, okay, I've got to fix my marriage. So started going to Christian counseling, things like that. The counselor starts diving into stuff, and I'm like, oh, well, there's this. And he goes, there it is. And it was like, and I was like, so what do you think there was other things? And I was like, well, that was kind of normal though, right? And he goes, do you touch your kids like that? I'm like, no, never.
Right.
And he goes, well, then it's not normal.
Right.
He goes, that's called abuse. And then he's like, think about it from the outside perspective. So then I started thinking about it, and I'm like, crap. And then I remembered a little more. And I was like, do you think it was worse than that? He goes, probably. He goes, but you've repressed it. He goes, but good for you. Leave it alone. He goes, you don't need to uncover it all to find healing. Just kind of learn from it and move forward. So how I've found healing from that was realizing just that talking about it. Like I said, I used to be a police officer, so there were some times where I heard, I would have to work cases. I was a detective, so I'd have to work cases. I wasn't in that unit that did it all the time.
Yeah.
So we all had to be cross-trained. So I had to work cases sometimes with kids that were inappropriately touched, and it was just like, sexual abuse and stuff. And then a lot of times it's going on in the church. And I mean, I don't know how many kids when I started talking about this, 3-4 kids, every single time I play the song, talk about it, somebody comes up to me afterwards and is in tears and says, hey, thank you for being so brave to talk about that. Cause it happened to me, or it happened to my daughter, happened to my friends, and it's like, dude, this stuff is everywhere.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's like we're not talking about it. But I mean, the biggest thing for me is running to God instead of running from Him.
Mm-hmm.
Even with the pornography, it's like the Bible says like exposing it to the light.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it's just and I've had to learn this. I mean, just keeping your eyes single. And by no means do I walk this out perfectly.
Right. You're
But
human.
keeping your eyes single and, focusing on Jesus. And because it's like you can walk on water if you focus on Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
You start looking at the storms, or even with like the self-help groups and stuff, which I love. I'm a part of that movement, and I play at those kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
But the counting the chips thing sometimes can be misleading if you're not keeping your focus right. Celebrate where you're at for sure, and how far you've come. But if you're focusing on trying not to do something, that's all you're going to do. It's sin consciousness versus righteousness consciousness, and it's like that's total. You're just going to keep messing up,
right?
Because it's what you're focusing on. Saying, like if a girl said, "I don't want to date guys that are a-holes," it's not the same thing as I want to date a winner, or I don't want to be broken. It's not the same thing as I want to be whole. So it's like what your focus is on is where you're gonna drive. So I'm like, okay, I want to be whole. I want to be healed. I want to look at Jesus, and anything outside of Jesus, is not for me. And then as far as like anything sexual, anything outside of my wife is not for me.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's how I try to do that every day, and just remind myself of that every day, and just kind of like a daily surrender kind of thing.
Yeah. And I mean, you're right. A lot of that stuff doesn't get talked about in the church. That's why we brought on Carl Thompson from Triple X
Church
to talk about pornography, especially in the church and amongst men and amongst young men, but not just men, women as well, and all that, the struggles that go on. But you said something real important there with the inappropriate touching and stuff like that, and where you're at now with and even in your life and trying to mature as a Christian, and we talk about it all the time. Sometimes you just got to go get help, right? Sometimes you got to go find that counselor or that psychiatrist that can help walk you through and unpack these things that you've suppressed or put in boxes or compartments in your life, and that's okay. That's okay. That's part of that leaning on each other and relying on each other and laughing together and crying together. That's what we're all here for. I mean, we were never meant to walk this alone.
Yeah, I went to a couple pastors and had counseling, and my pastor at the last church I was at in Indiana before I came down here was like, dude, he goes, I can keep counseling you. He goes, but I think you should just go get. He goes, if they're not a Christian, if they are a Christian, whatever, go talk to somebody that's a professional.
Yeah.
He goes, I think they can help you more than I can. And one, bravo for like recognizing that as a leader. But two, it's like we don't, and we get weird about that in the church.
We think it's a weakness. We think it's a weakness in the church.
Like, growing up in the church, especially, like that's like, oh man, and it's like, hey, we take aspirin for headaches,
right?
It's like, well, some of us do.
Yeah, right. I do. Eat that stuff like candy with my body aches.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I think that God invented science. God made science, and so He made men to study those kinds of things and learn those things and it's what we use it for that matters. So is it helping or hurting? So it's totally fine to get help from it's like I remember being friends with a guy that was like kept going on and off medication. It was like, hey, it's okay to take your meds, man. It's okay. Like, and because you just so long, especially when you become a Christian, you so long want to be healed. You just like desperately want to be healed.
Right.
So it's like, it's okay to be in your meds. It's okay to take to go get help at a psychiatrist. So I honestly learned a lot from that. And was really able to process through some things that I probably wouldn't have been able to if not.
So, you've talked about, I say you, I mean, it is you, but we've kind of talked about, I don't want to make you think like you're just talking to a camera, but
no, you're good. I can see you.
Yeah. So we've been talking about, life growing up, how you got interested in the faith, struggles within your faith, being on the road. How has being on the road and this journey that you're on right now, how has that affected your family dynamic? Like, what does your family dynamic look like? I know you're not doing it full time. You know, you still have an actual job. I say actual, musician's an actual job. Sorry, but wait, hang on a sec. You still have your regular job.
Day job, weekend warrior, baby.
What does that look like for your family dynamic?
Luckily, God blessed me with a 10. Neil Young talks about finding a wife with a heart of gold, or finding somebody with a heart of gold. I'm like, yep, right here. I done found that. My wife, even despite all my faults, has loved me unconditionally the entire time.
Bro, our wives sound the same.
Dude, it's like,
all of us.
I don't know what kind of patience God gave her, but I do not have the same level of it. But I would not put up with me, but she does. And just the support of, like, I mean, even growing up, my parents were super supportive. My family is supportive. But my wife, like, definitely, like, she's 100% behind me. Like, even when she's upset or anything like that, is still, like, always pushing me to be better. Hey, like, yeah, this would be hard for our family, but God called you to this. You prayed for these opportunities. She goes, you didn't pray for him to say no. You didn't pray for him to stay at home. So it's just like, it's really humbling when she says stuff like that to me, because it's like, just makes you realize, you're like, man, I probably should be a better husband.
Now, do you take them on the road with you?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So my son is Steven. He's 11. So he went to Revive Fest with me, actually.
Oh, cool.
So that was fun because he was on summer break. The next one was the week before school when I went to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So and that was the first time I've actually ever toured, was Revive Fest. So.
Oh, cool.
This is all brand new to me.
This is dope.
I saw you.
We're on the ground floor, baby.
You went to that. What was that? It was some restaurant or something like that, and you guys went in and asked if you could play a song.
So I took a buddy with me. His name's Josh Whitehead. He's actually a Christian artist too down here in Nashville. I met him at a co-write event. Dude, this whole journey has been like, and I'll get back to the restaurant thing.
Yeah.
That was crazy. But this whole journey of moving to Nashville has, like, been nuts. So it's been like, we kind of felt called, and then it was like, just like all these events happened there to kind of lead us here. And then we got here, and it was just almost like everything was like a giant thing of God going, do you trust me?
Yeah.
Like I bought this house accepting a job with Metro Nashville PD.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
And
wait.
I had 6 weeks off, and I was like, did not everyone always ask me as a cop, are you stressed? And I told them, no, I'm not stressed. And then I had 6 weeks off, and I was like, okay, maybe I'm more stressed than I thought I was. Like, because I felt like the weight of the world was finally off my shoulders.
Yeah.
And, like, I felt like taking that job would have been me, like, voluntarily sticking my head back underwater and letting somebody drown me.
Wow.
And I'm just like, I can't do this. And I told my wife, I was like, she goes, well, you better start looking for something. I, for the first time ever, took a full 100% commission job with Aflac. So, I mean, that alone is scary. So I'm busting my butt every day to, do what I can with that. And, I mean, honestly, I was at One Fest, on my way to One Fest in Wisconsin the week after Revive Fest. And we needed a certain dollar amount to pay our bills for August. And I woke up Saturday, my buddy was driving, and I woke up and I had just a little bit over that in my bank account, the commission I closed. And then it was like, and then I got paid for One Fest, which I knew about, but then when I went to the coffee shop, they paid me, and I was not even expecting that.
That's awesome.
So it was just like, bless. And then I sold merch, and it was just like, what? I made that much on merch sales? Like, oh my God. I was like, why did I even doubt? Because I'm like, down to the second, I'm like, man. And it was like, it's like this 11:50. I'm realizing this like 11:59 God, like just like coming in right at the wire. Like, do you trust me? And I'm like, yeah, you said you got me, but man, I'm like, and I mean, literally at the point, I'm like, dude, I'm like, you said you got this. You better. Because I'm like, because my family's dependent on me, and I'm like, that better only be part of it. And then I woke up the next day and it wasn't. I'm like, I'm sorry. Why did I doubt you?
Right. Sounds a lot like Peter, right? And don't we all have a little Peter in us?
Some of us have a lot.
I feel you. Everything you're saying, I'm like, man, this guy's living my life.
Well,
all the time.
And I think it's just all of us guys that are about the same age, grew up in church. It's we have all probably similar stories.
Yeah.
Just kind of relating to one another. So I'm glad we can talk about it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
But yeah, the family dynamic. Going back to that, the family dynamic is just my wife. Like, she's just so encouraging on everything. Right before we moved to Nashville, it was my first time I ever went to Wisconsin, and I was like, hey, I got these three or four shows in Wisconsin. I said, we move on Tuesday. I'm going to be gone Thursday through Sunday afternoon. Do you want me to? I'm like, they're just offering it to me. I don't have to say yes. And she's like, you didn't pray for opportunities to say no,
right?
And I'm just like,
dang,
man. I was like, well, you got me there. And it was like, it was just one thing after another.
Wow.
I'm just super blessed to have her and my kids, and like how my son just loves coming with me. So that's awesome. I got a little girl. She's 2. She's not coming with me yet, but
yeah,
I'm sure she'll probably love it.
Now, does your wife, real fast, does your wife work as well?
No, not right now.
No? Wow. So,
she was for a while before we moved. And then when we moved, I was like, hey, we got this because I'm going to be making enough money with Nashville PD. And
right.
I ended up doing that. So no, it's like I kind of, yeah. But no, I think we made the right decisions. Just kind of letting, praying about things,
Definitely.
letting God guide us. And I know, like, as things start flowing, it's like, yeah, we made the right decision. Like things may get a little rocky here and there, but we made the right choice. And then it's like she's actually, but right now she's actually she makes salsa, and she's a really good cook. So she's making salsa right now and canning and jarring that stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Kind of starting a little business called Labor of Love. So she's going to be rolling that out sometime here shortly. So
cool. Yeah, I mean, both of our wives, they're stay-at-home moms too, so we totally get that. So, all right, so now back to the restaurant, because this is.
That's what I'm sitting here for. I'm like, what's the restaurant?
All right, so I saw it on, I think it was Instagram. I think I saw the video, and I'm like, we got to talk about this.
So my buddy Josh Beta, who, like I was saying, is also an artist. A bunch of Holy Spirit stuff happened where it's just like I needed somebody to do camera work. I'd written a song with him. The Holy Spirit kind of just said, hey, you should call Josh Beta, see if he could. So don't need anybody to take like music videos. I just need somebody like do like an iPhone gimbal kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I ended up calling him, and he's like, dude, that's so weird. He goes, because the Holy Spirit just literally said, hey, if you're wanting to make some extra money, you should probably just like start using that gift that you have for video. And
that's
so
cool.
It was like 5 minutes apart. So it was like crazy timing. So he ended up coming with me to both shows, to Revive Fest and to One Fest, and like the Wisconsin, Illinois tour. And so we're in this restaurant called Nick's Pizza and Pub.
Right.
And I'm like, well, if we're near Chicago, I'm going to get some like pizza because,
Yeah, it's good
Absolutely.
pizza.
We're doing that. I'm like, I'm not going to go to Giordano's because I've been there. Let's go to some place, like some family place. So we go there, and it's just this really cool aesthetic. It's like a log cabin looking inside, really cool. And Josh keeps leaning over to me, and he's like, dude, he goes, do you think it would be really cool if we could play a song in here and take a video, like upstairs? He goes, where there's nobody at. He goes, and just like, like just with the cabin vibe and the lighting in here. I was like, that would be cool, man. And then he's like, the waitress comes by, and she starts getting closer, and he's like, I'm going to ask her. I was like, no, dude. No,
like, you can't do that.
Do that, bro. Yeah, it's like, we don't. I'm like, dude, I don't want to, like, we're not, like, I'm not here to showboat. Like, be like, he goes, no. You're good. You don't want to. He goes, I want to.
Yeah.
He goes,
there's your Midwest coming out. That's your Midwest coming out.
You looked really nervous in that video. You were like, man, this is really nerve-wracking.
Like, dude, I'm like playing in a restaurant where people are trying to eat.
Nobody knows about it either.
I don't have a quiet voice, and I'm like, nobody knows who. I'm not like a celebrity or anything. I'm like, nobody knows who. I'm like, what the heck is this? And I'm like, okay, whatever. And Josh is like, this is gonna be cool, man. This is gonna be really cool. And I'm like, okay, dude. So we go up there, and then they shut off she goes, "Hey, do you want us to shut off the stereo?" And I'm like, no, we don't want to be any kind of inconvenience. And we're on the video, you can even hear it. He goes, "Dude, they stopped the music.
Yeah.
You ain't got a choice now."
That's so
And I'm
cool.
like, crap. And then I hit one of these high notes, and everybody stops talking and just like staring at me. And I could see it out of the corner of my eye down in the thing.
Yeah.
And then I just sang a little, verse and a chorus of one of my songs called Change. And put it, he goes, "Yeah, that was good, man. You got it in one take." So like, sweet. So I put my guitar up, we walk down, everybody's just kind of like looking like, "Who's that?" And I'm just like smiling. We walk out, and I'm like, "That was the weirdest thing I've ever done, man." I was like, "It was fun."
So weird.
You like I said, you looked like you were like, man, this is gonna be awkward. And like,
I feel uncomfortable right now for you.
When
Goodness.
When I was watching Joshua, I was sitting there like the very first time we went up on Revive Fest, like on the stage,
man.
and we're like, I was just like, I felt so out of place and awkward that very first time.
I was living my best life. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, you were.
I love the stage.
I was like, this is a little awkward because it was just like, hey, we've got free Bibles, let's just hand them out, and it's like, okay,
Let's do it.
So I thought that was a really cool story, and I really liked how it was just like so raw. It reminded me, that whole scene reminded me of like if I was watching like Rich Mullins. You remember Rich Mullins?
Yes.
I'm a ragamuffin, so I mean, so I was like,
I love it,
man, this is like a scene straight out of Rich Mullins right here. Like, this is it right here. Had that nice raw sound. I was like, oh, this is awesome. So
Cool, man.
yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was just like, it felt super awkward, but like, he was like, "Dude, no, imagine if you were sitting down there." He goes, "And you heard it." He goes, "That'd make a lasting impression on you." He goes, also, "Some of these people may never have heard the gospel."
Right.
I'm like, all right.
Dang. Okay. Voice of reason.
All right, man. Okay, dude. Okay. You didn't have to throw on the extra side of guilt there. Good Lord. Right, man.
God doesn't guilt people. Why are you? Oh, wait. No. So yeah, talking about your music a little bit, I want to kind of switch gears a little bit and start talking a little bit about this EP that you just released called Second Chance. So I'm not going to lie.
It's actually Second Life. It's actually Second Life.
Is it Second Life?
But,
Did I read it wrong?
Second Life. You did, but it's okay.
Dang it. It's a Second Life. Wow.
What's crazy is my wife and I were actually trying to start a 501c3 when we were living back in Indiana called Second Chances.
Oh, okay.
So I was like,
Yeah,
hey,
it's called Second Life, bro.
You know what? It's because I'm thinking, because isn't the song called Second Chance?
No.
Or is it Second
That's
Life?
also called Second Life.
Well, I say both things in there, so that's fair enough. You listen to the song. But,
I did listen.
No,
so,
no, it's all good. No, you're fine, man.
So-
no problem.
So, all right. So I'm probably screwed up your next one then too.
You're good, man. You're good.
So, anyways, I was sitting there listening to it. 'Cause I'm not gonna lie, I've had you on pretty much all week, just kind of listening to that album a little bit over and over again. And I really liked what you had to say in your chorus. And I'm just going to read the lyrics of your chorus. I mean, or unless you want to quote the lyrics of your chorus, since you probably know it better than me, I might screw it up. Actually, no, I didn't screw up the chorus because I just like copied and pasted. So if it got screwed up, it wasn't me.
It was for me.
But it says, the chorus says, crying out for a second chance, maybe a brand new life. Nothing seems to heal what's broken down on the inside. You gave me a second life, a new way to say goodbye. And now it seems that you have brought to life what's on the inside. So I'm guessing, I'm gonna let you lean into this song, but I'm guessing that those things are the inspiration for those lyrics really just came from your background, from the walking away, growing up in church, then walking away, and then getting that second chance, that new life. But can you lean into it a little bit for us?
So I wrote that one more so about like that was the first one where I wanted to really lean into the dark part of my life of like being sexually abused.
Yeah.
And I actually wrote it when I was with my band, and my guitar player actually had gone through the same thing, but it was a lot worse than what I'd went through.
Yeah.
He never really talked about it. I never really talked about it. And he started playing this little riff, and I started doing some chords over it. And I looked at him and I said, "You know what, man, I think it's time." He said, "Time for what?" I said, "I think it's time that we both talk about what we've gone through." I said, I think it's both time we talk about like how we were both molested.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "You let me know if you're ready to do that or not." And he was just kind of like, I don't care. And I'm like, well, no, you really take the time, and he was really cool about it. So like, he's an awesome dude. And he's like, I don't care, man. That's fine. And I was like, no, I mean, I get you're saying it's fine, but like, take the time to think about it. Let's write it. And he's like, no, seriously, man, let's do it. And he was right on board. So I was like, sweet. So some of the lyrics just kind of came.
Yeah.
And then I wrote the first verse and the chorus, and then he helped write, or he wrote the second verse and the bridge, and then we kind of worked on it all together to like piece it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was mostly just trying to like dive into that. So we really wrote it for the sexual abuse part. I mean, if somebody gets something else out of it, that's why it's art.
I mean, I did, but not from that aspect.
That's awesome. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is, because when you go through something traumatic, no matter what it is, no matter if it's sexual abuse, all of us have been through. Nobody comes through childhood unscathed.
Right.
So, and that we all go through stuff. And the thing is it hurts, and we need to talk about it. And sometimes we want to bottle it up inside. When we let it go, it feels so much better. So the chorus is just like, you're crying out for that second chance. You're just upset. You're at the end of your rope. And then it's like, nothing is helping. Because I mean, I remember turning to alcohol and drugs and girls and, just all this stuff. Nothing was helping. And, you finally turn to God, and he gives you, and like, I that's why we said a new way to say goodbye. It's like a new way to forgive, a new way to let things go.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so I can actually say goodbye to my old life and step into that second life. This is exactly what we get with Jesus, is a second life. We get a whole new chance to, that's what being born again is about, is, leaving behind that old man. And yeah, that was really the driving point for the song. It's just like going through the emotions of that process.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm reading through the lyrics right now, and dang.
They're powerful lyrics, and the song is so catchy. It's actually going through in my head right now. But I'm not gonna sing it today.
No singing today.
Why would I?
No bingo for Sabrina?
Why would I?
No bingo?
Why would I insult the artist with that?
Just call it a cover, and it'll be okay.
No, it wouldn't be maybe it'd be a cover of like, yeah, this is the worst cover we've ever heard.
Goodness.
No, but I love the whole melody and everything behind it is just it's a catchy tune. So like, take the words out of it and just the music, it's like, oh, this is really catchy. And then you add the words into it, and it builds up on this whole new dynamic of like, not is it just only a catchy tune, but the words are so impactful and so powerful to what a lot of us, like you said, most kids don't come out of childhood unscathed. And it's true. And so like, it just like speaks into your soul and like brings you on this journey of like, but Christ can give you this second life, this new life. And it's really cool, man.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I'm just going to say, like I said, it's been on repeat all week for me, but he hasn't had the opportunity to, since he had to come in blind. So
I'm just here for the ride.
I'm so glad I got to do the research on this one. But
cool, man. All those songs on that EP are like super personal to me. So I mean, it kind of felt like something new that I was doing. There was a whole like series of events I won't go into right now, but it ended up just being me and my guitar player Matt that wrote the song.
Yeah,
it just ended up being him and I at a studio. So everything else was like session players.
Yeah,
which wasn't our normal, and we kind of we did a few things differently than we normally do. So when the songs were finished, it didn't feel like our band songs. And then everything happened to where we ended up moving to Nashville, and I'm like, what do we do with these songs? And I was like, hey guys, I'm thinking about releasing them, on my own, just branching out. And everyone's like, yeah, dude, that's fine. That's cool, man. We can't really be a band when we're 600 miles apart anyways. So
right.
It's like, okay.
Well, so I liked another song that was on there, and I'm not even going to say the name of the song. I'll let you say the name after I read the lyrics, just so because on the website that I found it, it says Process, but is that the song or is it Change?
Well, there's both.
There's two.
Both. Okay, I wasn't 100% sure. I was like, all right, I can't remember which one I copied because I was looking at one and then I copied it and I wasn't sure. So you let me know if this is the process lyrics. I'm going to do.
Tell me the lyric and I'll let you know.
I'm going to do verse
Well, I sure
one.
dang hope so.
Verse one, the bridge and then the chorus is what I wanted to read, because this one really, if you didn't go through things in your past, you may be struggling with your faith now. And at least this is the way it spoke to me of this song really spoke to how we struggle with things in our Christian walk now, but we're all in process, right? We're not perfect here, and we will never be perfect, but we're in a process. And so it says changing. I say I'm changing all the time, but the actions in my life don't show the same. Falling as I miss another step, chasing everything except what I proclaim. As I'm pouring out my heart on my knees, you remind me I'm in process. I'm in the promise. I'm keeping my eyes fixed on you instead of my progress. I'm in process of letting my past fall away and believing you have made a way for me to live a new day. So is it process then?
That is process.
That's process. Well, it kind of gives me that vibe of what you're talking about earlier, Joshua. We're talking about it blipped a little bit. So I'm guessing, is it Celebrate Recovery or one of those other ministries we're talking about, the chips? Is that the idea of I'm in the process, I'm in the promise, but then a second later it says, I keep my eyes fixed on you instead of my progress.
Right.
Yes. So that's what came to me is
that's some solid stuff right there. Dang.
Thanks, brother. No, so yeah, it's just like I was talking about with the sin consciousness versus righteousness conscious. It's just like you get so focused on trying to not do something that's the exact thing you do. It's kind of what Paul talks about, and all the things I want to do, I all the things I don't want to do, I do, and it's because that's what you're focusing on. Yeah. So that's kind of what came to me. I mean, honestly, you started. I mean, I'm like straight up. You started reading the first verse, and I started choking up. So
it's a good song, man. It's another good, really good.
No, I mean, and it's because that literally came from me telling my wife that I had messed up again with pornography. Yeah. And she said, you tell me you're changing all the time. She came to me and she said, hey, I just need real talk. She said, you tell me you're changing all the time, but your actions aren't backing up your words, and it's breaking my heart. And I was like, man. So that's where that comes from every time. It's just that changing. I say I'm changing, but the actions in my life don't show the same. Yeah. And it's like all these things that I say I'm following. I'm a Christ follower. I'm a Christian artist, and it's like, but it's like I'm still struggling. I'm still human. And it was learning how to have grace for myself. Growing up in the church, it's like I so demanded performance and perfection out of myself that I was giving other people grace, but I wasn't giving me any grace. So I had to let myself go, hey, it's okay. Not okay that I mess up. It's not okay. But when I mess up, that it's not, I have a savior that can take that, because it's not about what I've done. It's about that I am already changed. Right. And I need to continue to live into that concept and that statement of, hey, no, I've been changed. Yeah. Not I'm changing, but I've been changed. Yeah. And even when I mess up, I need to pick myself up, dust myself off. Thank you, God, for your forgiveness. Thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for the fact that I'm already changed and I don't have to live in my mess up. I can live in your righteousness and not live in my sin. Yeah. And that's really where all that came from. And that's kind of what God dropped, and the Holy Spirit kind of dropped into me, is like, hey, you're in the process. Yeah. Like, and then it's like, I was like, okay, I'm in the process. And that's literally where it's just right out of my prayer life and things like that. We just like, hey, I'm pouring out my heart down on my knees. And he's like, hey, you're in the process. And, but stay there in the promise and keep your eyes on me.
So if you don't mind me asking, practically speaking, what do you do to do that? You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's one thing, like even what your wife said, it's like, you talk, but I don't say the walk to back it up. And so, yes, I mean, as Christians, I know it sounds like you have a similar story to what we do, or you have people in your life where it's like, well, man, you just ain't praying enough. You ain't got enough faith. You ain't got enough this. And it's like, it's freaking hard. Like, this is hard. And so what do you do to not just brush yourself up and get up and keep going, but those actual day-to-day things that you're doing in order to keep your eyes on Jesus, but then also not focus on the things that are trying to rip you down too.
So for me, the big thing was, and I'm talking like just a couple months ago, like messed up. So I'm like, real talk, like straight up, like I'm not walking this out perfect. But what I found helps the most is literally when I get up in the morning, I get in the shower and I completely just, God, you have my eyes, you have my mind, you have my hands, you have my heart, you have my life, and immediately start filling my mind with things. And when and it's been more apparent, I don't know when, something in me snapped, and this last time, and something in me snapped and it was like, okay, I'm not done. I know when things are tempting me.
Mm-hmm.
It's just being honest with myself, and then being honest with my wife.
Yeah.
And going, hey, I'm not doing anything wrong, but I'm walking down this path that I know is going to lead there. If I don't, I need help.
Yeah.
And instead of hiding that, running towards it, it's really, for a long time, I had a fear of conflict. So it's really facing that conflict. For me, it's all conflict resolution stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's my walk. I don't know what other people's is, but for me, it's when I turn towards the issue and face it, and am able to just get it out and say, hey, this is what I'm dealing with. Let's be honest. Like, I'm not going to just sit here and pretend. When I'm able to do that, it seems that's where the healing is. I think that's probably true for everybody when you just, when you're able to let that out and face your stuff. Like the Bible says, you bring it to the light, you live in the light, and people don't like the light because they can't hide from their dark deeds.
Yeah.
Like it says in John. So it's like, for me, it's just literally like when I feel myself, you're scrolling social media and you see something and you want to look at it too long, like put the phone down, put it down completely. And then, okay, I'm going to go read my Bible, or I'm going to go pray, or I'm going to go turn on The Chosen, or I'm going to turn on this, some other movie that I know is not going to, some other Christian thing that I'm going to go listen to some worship. I'm going to do something that puts my eyes back on my source instead of on this counterfeit thing that's trying to steal my attention, steal my worship, and quite frankly, steal my heart and my life away from what God's calling me to. And I'm not trying to sound cookie cutter saying that. That's just literally where.
But that's your walk.
That's it.
Yeah, I gotta be there, or I'm literally gonna be right back on my face again.
Yeah,
it sucks. It sucks being there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, cool, man. Hey, we appreciate you being so real with us on Real Talk. I mean, so often it's Mark and I, we're sharing our stories, sharing our struggles, trying to encourage each other. Most of the time we call it our therapy session. Like, we just come in, two brothers, just be in therapy. I mean, one of our highest rated episodes is called Struggles of a Christian Walk.
Honest Struggles of a Christian Walk.
I mean, that's what it is. And it's just, hey, let's talk this out. And that's all it is. So we really appreciate you sharing with us. So as we're kind of winding down, I've got one more question that was asked of me to ask you. And then after that, if you got anything else you want to say, or if Mark's got any other follow-up questions to it, we'll go that route. But my final question from a listener
it's a doozy.
Is this and you've kind of spoken to it already, but I want to make sure since it was from a listener, I wanted to make sure I got it in here. So for those that don't want to listen to Christian music because of artists that don't live out what they portray and kind of come across as hypocritical, what would you say to them, and why would you encourage them to listen to your music?
Wow. You sent me the questions earlier, and that was the one that stuck out to me. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
I was like, let me be first to say that I can't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think it was in Matthew 5 when it was like, Jesus starts saying, hey, look, if you look at a woman in lust, you're committing adultery in your heart. If you think anger towards your brother, you're committing murder. And it's like, who can do that? The answer is nobody.
Mm-hmm.
So none of us can live up to that standard that God has. And at the end of the day, I think going back to what Rich Mullins used to say is that don't look at our lives if you want spiritual enrichment, go to church. This is Christian entertainment.
Yeah.
So, but I totally understand. I've heard stories. I haven't experienced it firsthand. But I've heard stories about things that are happening backstage with some Christian acts that, shouldn't be happening backstage with Christian acts.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I won't even go into it or anything like that, but
Sure.
because like I said, I've never experienced it firsthand, but it's just that saddens me. But it probably didn't get there overnight. It probably was little bits at a time. What I would say to people who don't want to listen to it for that is get to know the artist. And then also don't worship the artist, worship God.
Right.
Cause the artist is still human and they're going to let you down. They're not perfect just because they're a Christian and they're singing about God and say, it's like, I'm not perfect, man, but I can tell you, this is what I do when I'm struggling. This is my struggle. And this is what I do when I'm struggling. That's the only answer I have.
Well, and I think that's what keeps you from being a hypocrite, right? And I guess I'm going to lean into this person's question a little bit along with you. Standing side by side with my brother here is that, you recognize, hey, I'm going to screw up, but I have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ, who's going to, on my behalf, stand before him. And so because of that, I have to run to Jesus when I screw up. But that's my source. And I'm guessing that this listener is probably listening to more people like, who's some of the ones that have totally, completely walked away from the faith?
Like John Steingart with Hawk Nelson.
Thank you. Yeah. So you got those artists that, you listen to and you kind of held up and then they've walked away from the faith altogether. It's not just that they, struggle or fall, but they've completely walked away from what they once were. And I think that's the difference with you is that, from hearing your story is that you're really, you kind of remind me a little bit of Rich Mullins, right? Rich Mullins used to say all the time, hey, I struggle with this stuff, right? But Jesus is my center. Jesus is my focus. And I'm going to continue to take my problems to him. I am no different than anybody else, which is stuff that Rich Mullins used to say. And that's just the way it is. Like,
it's just, I don't know what, I'm not going to be fake. And that's my biggest thing is like, I don't want to be one of the artists that you're talking about. That the listener's talking about.
Right.
So, that's why let's just handle it. Let's just handle business right out front.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to let you down if you're worshiping me or you're looking to me for answers. The only thing I'm here to do is just point you to my answer.
Right.
And like you said, that's Jesus, my advocate. Like when I mess up, that's it. And it's a mindset of run to instead of run from.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing that I can say as far as like a message of hope for people is you want to run from. Because that's literally what Adam and Eve did in the garden. They hid.
Yeah.
But, we're supposed to run. Now we have Jesus so we can run too. And it's a different shift in thinking. And when you grasp that fact that you can run too now and you don't have to worry about it, that you're clothed in his righteousness.
Yeah, exactly.
That it's like, hey, I can actually run to you and you don't even see what I just did wrong.
Right. 100%. Preach it, brother.
Dude, it's freeing.
Yeah.
It's freeing. And it allows you to live that way where you're just like, man, oh my gosh. Like, and it's like, you come to the realization that God actually loves me.
Right.
Like he actually, and who am I to be loved? Like, it's like he actually loves me.
Yeah.
And he actually loves those people too. But it's just, that's my biggest thing is I don't ever want to be fake. I don't ever want to be phony. I mess up all the time. But I have to at the same on the other hand, I try to every day focus on Jesus so that I can live a free life, because I have to believe that I can live a life free from sin.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying I don't have a purpose for the blood or anything like that, but I have to believe that I can live a life changed.
Yep.
And that's how I'm able to be free is by I'm living that life through Christ.
Sure. Yeah, you're a new creature. You're created anew, and so we have to strive for righteousness. But at the same time, you're speaking to me like, we may not have the same struggles, but we all have struggles, right? I may not have the same struggle as you, or as Mark, or as my wife, or as your wife, but we all have struggles that we struggle with. We all have those little sins that God's working on us. It's part of that sanctification process. and you're speaking to me right now, brother. And amen, amen, and amen. Like that's what I appreciate you just being real and not trying to be that phony of like, hey, I'm a Christian artist and I don't, I'm newer to the scene and releasing CDs and stuff, so I don't want to say anything that might hurt my, my listens, my downloads, or anything like that. But you're like, no, man, I'm going to lay it out on the line. I'm like the rest of you. I ain't nobody special. I'm just like you are. I have struggles, but at the same time, I focus on Christ, and He's my advocate, and that's who I run to.
And I, Joshua, what you said with the fact of I ain't pointing you to myself, I'm pointing you to my answer.
100%.
Yeah,
like, that's dope.
And like even the thing too is like we get like I've been I understand like there's like a psychology to like stage presence and like doing things like that, and it can be very tempting to use that and take it all in for you.
Yeah.
I got these people to do that. I got these people to clap. I got these people to enjoy this. But it's like with Christian artists, I think if you want to know the difference between one that's going to be one that's going to be phony or hypocritical and one that's going to be real is, first of all, are they pointing you back to Christ and away and not to themselves? They're just being a vessel. And then do they have a testimony?
Yeah.
Because if you ask somebody to tell you your testimony and they can't.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's 1 Peter 3:15 talks about, be ready to give an answer for the things and what you'd have, right? So, I mean, that's what it's about. And so, all right, Mark, that's all I've got for him. What you got anything?
I don't know, man. I've been sitting and listening to the conversation and tried not to interject too much and well, muddy the waters.
If you don't have anything else, Joshua, is there anything else that you want to talk about that we missed?
Sure. Actually, you sent me another question. I'll go over it real quick. Because I was like, hold on. Encourage those who are struggling with their faith. So I just say, like, I know lots of people who have done like the whole reconstruction thing and or deconstruction thing and struggling with their faith. And if we're short on time, let me know.
No. Hey, listen, we don't have time limits here, brother. You talk as long as you want.
Okay, good. Okay. But no, like I know some people who struggled with that deconstruction stuff, and my one pastor says there's no such thing as atheists; they're just butthurt Christians. And,
nice, wow!
Laugh at that, but I know some people who have walked away from the faith, and still friends with them, still talk to them, and we're able to have conversation about it and not about it, which is good, I think. But a lot of times it's and even people that I'm not friends with that I know that are. A lot of times they portray anger. They portray anger towards, just kind of like on God's Not Dead. It's just like, you sound like you're angry with a God you don't believe in.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times what happens originally is that we're blaming God for things that aren't God's fault. This world's broken, the world's fallen, and there's some things that are our fault, and we have. Of course, the concept of free will and all that as well. So, if we don't have freedom to choose, then we don't have freedom to love. And if you're struggling with your faith, I would say that just I always go back to the free will thing. Like I have spent plenty of times. It's that run to, not run from thing, like I was talking about. I spent plenty of times just yelling, cussing at God, yelling at Him, just like, what are you doing? Why did you allow this? Just angry. But it's going to Him with that. I think that's helped me stay focused instead of keeping it hidden and going, well, I'm just not talking to God anymore. It's just been that facing Him, going, why? And you know what? Sometimes I may never know, to be honest.
Yeah.
I may never know why. And I don't have any answers for anybody else on why bad things happen. But I do know that I think when we run to God with issues, even if we're having issues with God, that we need to run to Him for that and address it with Him. I think that's so much healthier, and you'll probably find your faith stronger in doing that, even because you'll realize that you start getting answers back, and you're like, man, okay, I don't know if you all listen to it, but Corey Asbury has a new song out called "Kind," and he kind of addresses that, and it's like
That's where my head went.
yeah, and it's like I was like, wow. And if you haven't heard it, go listen to it because it's amazing. But yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is that you go, you run to him instead of from him, and that just creates this stronger faith of not being afraid to be. It's okay for me to be mad at God as long as I'm telling God I'm mad at him.
Yeah.
But when you hide it, I think that's when it turns into bitterness, and then you start going through the deconstruction phase. But yeah, that's the only other thing I saw in there that I was like, man, I want to dive into that just a little bit at least.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm glad you did, man.
Yeah, definitely. So Joshua, tell us or tell the people, because I already kind of know, and Mark, tell the people and Mark where they can go to find your music, your merch. Like where can they go to find the things?
All the things. So yeah, I'm on like all the streaming platforms. It's just under Joshua Whitehead. What last name is just like it sounds, all one word.
Yeah, and don't worry, we're going to put it in our show notes too, so people can scroll down to that too.
And then I have a Shopify store that's linked to my Spotify. So my merch is all on there. You can get hoodies and T-shirts that say I'm in the process, which is cool. I wear one not just because it's mine, but because I want people to know that I'm in the process.
Right.
Be patient with me. But no, yeah, it's on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, all the streaming things, YouTube, all that stuff. YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. It's Joshua Whitehead Music.
Okay.
And all the other things, it's just Joshua Whitehead. So either look up one or the other, you'll probably find me.
All righty. Anything else that you want to say?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Didn't mean to step on you.
Nope. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, I'm working on some new stuff right now. I got a couple songs coming out. I should be releasing one new one in somewhere around October-ish. So
cool.
Dope. Right after this episode airs, right?
Pretty close to right after this episode airs. End of September, beginning of October, I think is when this is going to go. So
awesome.
Cool. Yeah, I think the first one I'm going to release is called Maybe the Sunrise. So that's kind of a cool thing I wrote with a buddy named David Delgado. He's another Christian artist.
Cool.
And, yeah, that's just kind of going into this whole idea of just leaning into God and trusting Him. This whole kind of season that I'm in right now, and just the words are just kind of like, maybe the sunrise will lead me back home to you, and maybe the sunrise remembers your mercies are new, because there's sometimes we get forgetful, but just kind of a cool little concept we were playing with, and yeah, really excited about that one. So.
That's cool. Dope.
Awesome.
Well, Joshua, man, it was a pleasure. So thank you for sharing all that, man.
Yes, thanks, brother. I appreciate you being on.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. It was awesome. Good time, good coffee, good talk.
Absolutely. Before we go, though, we have to christen you,
yes,
my friend, with our favorite part of the show. Well, second to you. Second favorite part to you. But one of the favorite parts of the show, and this is probably the main reason why people hang on every single episode.
Maybe.
It's time for...
Fun Facts with Filler.
That laugh, bro. Dude, so man. Sabrina sent us that video of her little girl laughing, like her little baby laughing to your kids laughing.
Right, yeah, it was pretty good.
It was awesome. Well, dude, so let's end this episode. So you've only had 2 accidental repeats on this show. Are you going to keep that streak going?
I don't know. I don't remember this one, so we're going to try. But, you know, in lieu of talking to a music. Wow. Hang on a sec here. Yeah, good job, Chris. Let me rewind.
You're messing up your sounds.
So, in lieu of talking to a musician, did you know, Joshua and Mark and listeners, the Golden Girls was supposed to have a different theme song? Do you even know who the Golden Girls are?
I know who they are.
All right. I know Joshua
don't know
probably
what
does.
The theme song
Joshua,
is.
You know the Golden Girls, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
All right.
You just called Joshua old? Is that what just happened?
No, I know the Golden Girls. So,
is he old?
So, yeah, that's right. Instead of Andrew Gold's iconic "Thank You for Being a Friend," the show's producers wanted to use Bette Midler's song "Friends," according to Jim Kaluka, I think is his name. So he's the author of the book "Golden Girls Forever: An Unauthorized Look Behind Linnea." But the rights to the Divine Mrs. M's song was too expensive, and the rest is sitcom history.
You know, I wonder how many other songs.
Wait, turn that back down. What'd you say, Joshua?
Could you imagine if they would have used Michael W. Smith's?
Right? Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Dang, wait a minute.
Yes. He's
And
another.
just like that,
we got another
Joshua
Michael
became
fan. Yes.
the Fuller's, both you and Janelle's favorite person.
Well, no, Janelle's is Stephen Curtis Chapman.
She
but
loves
mine
me
is
some-
Michael W. Smith. So
That's true.
you're speaking my love language right now.
I listened to that on. I grew up on that on tape, man.
Oh yeah, me too. I did too.
That's freaking wild.
The best decade, right?
100%, 130% right
See,
there.
I'm the tooth and nail decade, man.
No,
so
that's later
very
on, bro.
different.
Dude, that was when the Discman came. I got in this.
Yep. Well, Joshua, thanks for being on with us, brother. We appreciate you very, very much for taking some time out of your Friday evening to hang out with us.
Absolutely, man. Well,
So-
thanks for having me. It was a fun time.
All right, Joshua, we're going to take you back to the green screen room, all right?
Thanks, Josh.
All right, man.
Take it easy, brother.
Thank you.
Well, guys, just like always, it was an absolute pleasure having you guys hang out with us for another episode of Real Talk Christian Podcast, where we got to hang out with the one and only Joshua Whitehead. So as
much
he
fun. So
said,
much fun.
make sure you check him out on Spotify. Let's boost those Spotify streams, okay? Because Homeboy's got to eat.
Yeah.
Homeboy's got to eat.
He's
Well,
got kids to feed.
absolutely. So make sure you check him out. If you don't have a good memory, just hit the show notes. We'll have links to all the various different things.
Yep.
But what else can you find in the show notes, Fuller?
You can also find, well, not only Toccoa Coffee, but you can also go to realtalkchristianpodcast.com, where you can find all the things, including our YouTube link. So if you haven't yet, go over, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification.
You have a real bell now?
Yeah, brother.
You have a real bell?
I'm so excited.
I can't do it.
No, you don't need to do the ding no more.
Oh, dang it.
But hit that subscribe
I'm
button,
fired.
and that way you guys are notified when we're on, because you never know when we might be going live or just dropping whatever. So
And to continue the conversation, make sure you check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and join the online RTC Facebook community, where there's, I don't know how many thousand people now. There's well over 1,000.
I think it's over 1,100 now.
We're
Where
growing,
we have
man.
daily conversations.
And so you guys who are putting in different conversation topics every single day, I just want to say thank you for keeping the RTC online community
Don't make
something
it suck.
special. Yeah, don't make it suck.
Don't make it
Just
suck.
don't make it suck. Well, we love you guys. Make sure you leave a rating review anywhere you listen. But until next time.
Take it easy.